morning, welcome to today's vlog. If you're new here, I'm Amber. I make kind of crunchy motherhood and lifestyle videos. If you like that sort of content, would love it if you subscribed. I am just jumping right into my to-do list today because I feel like there's kind of a lot to do, but there's only certain slots of time that I can do everything in. So I started off by watering this lavender plant that we have in the front yard. It's just there randomly, like there's nothing around it. And I decided about a week ago that I would really love to plant some medicinal flowers around our garden bed. So flowers that look pretty, but that you also could occasionally harvest and use. So I'm thinking echinacea, yarrow, and lavender. And this one in the front is already mature, like it's pretty good size. So we are going to attempt to transplant it from the front yard into the backyard. And I read that it's good to give it like a deep water 2 or 3 hours before you do it. So I'm hoping in a couple hours we will have time to go ahead and dig a hole and do that. I'm scared though because I've never transplanted anything from the ground, and so Alex is gonna dig the hole to get it out, but I'm just afraid because I really don't want to kill it. Lift right here, look, lift. Now pull it over, pull it over. There you go, now it's over. I wanted to give you an updated garden tour because quite a bit has been added and changed since I started about 2 months ago. Let's start with the bell pepper seeds that I started inside. I cannot remember for the life of me if I said this in my last vlog or not, but I was originally keeping them under a windowsill in our basement and they were doing okay. 2 of them sprouted, but I remembered I had this AeroGarden that my dad gifted me like 5 years ago and it has a grow light attached. So I put them under there, all of them sprouted and they've been doing really good up until the last like 2 weeks. I noticed that the roots started spiraling on the bottom of their little pods, and so that means they're getting root bound, they have nowhere to grow. So I am going to transplant them into something bigger today. And it's perfect because I have these red Solo cups that my mom bought like almost 2 years ago when we first moved here and we hadn't unpacked our dishes yet. I didn't want to throw them away or give them away because they're open, so I don't even know if you can do that. So I've just been holding on to these, and this is a perfect use for them because I can keep using them over and over again every single year until I guess they're like completely worn out. Here are the strawberries, and we've actually got a lot of strawberries coming in right now. I have them all covered up with these, but I just took them off so that you can see because we did have a rabbit come in and get one the other day. I've also added 2 tomato plants. So this is gonna be a cherry tomato, and then this is like your standard round tomato, and then a basil plant right here. I directly sowed a zucchini, or no, 2 zucchini seeds. So I'm hoping that those will come up soon. This empty section right here is where I'm hoping to put those bell peppers. We also added this around the perimeter of the garden bed. We initially just had it in a single layer like this, and I took those black things off of all the plants, but a rabbit still got in. That's what happened the other day. So we doubled up, and I think this is gonna work. Like, I don't think a rabbit is getting through here, but the only problem is that there's a couple of spots right here and right over there where we didn't have enough, so those are still exposed. That's the only reason I'm still using these black things, but we're gonna try to figure out something else for these 2 spots without buying a whole other roll of this. We also have 5 raspberry plants growing. So these 3 here are red raspberries, and then these 2 are golden raspberries. We've actually already got a small handful of raspberries, mostly off of this one, and they're so good. I've only actually had 1 because we give them to Kai, but he loves it. The only other update is that I planted some sunflower seeds right here, and that was about a week ago. So far, nothing, but I'm hoping to do 2 rows, and I want to do them staggered. So once these come up and start to grow, then I'll do a second row right here. I forgot about these because I just did them yesterday, but I got this mint and this jalapeno plant because I already had these grow bags from last year. I know that mint is super invasive, so it's better to grow it in a container anyway, and the jalapeno was kind of just a random choice. I just looked up like what types of things grow well in grow bags, and that's one of the things that came up. Okay, here we go. Kai's napping, so I am making a brown sugar latte with an egg yolk, and one of you actually gave me the idea to freeze the egg whites. I would always either just like toss them or I'd keep them in the fridge if I knew for sure that I had something I could do with them in the next day or two. And the only reason I didn't freeze them before is because for some reason I didn't think you could put like a fresh one on top of a frozen one and then put it back in the freezer, but apparently you can. So that is what I'm gonna do now. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, just kidding. I already have a frozen one in here, so I'm gonna add that. Okay. So thank you for that tip because I seriously hate wasting and I try to avoid it as much as possible. The lavender transplant is done, thank goodness, because that was a much bigger job than we thought it was going to be. I knew it was big just by looking at the top of it, like it's definitely a mature plant, but I did not realize how big the root system would be underneath. So Alex did a really good job of like digging up around it, but because he left pretty much all of the roots intact, there was just so much mud and dirt attached to that thing. So I could not lift it up by myself at all. And that's partly why it took so long, because Alex had to lift it up, put it in the hole for me, and then hold it while I filled in all the dirt, because we also planted it on a slight slope. So we couldn't just stick it in the hole because then it would be like all cattywampus. I'm already seeing some signs of transplant shock. Like there's some leaves that are kind of starting to droop. So hopefully that's all it is and we didn't kill it, but we will see and I'll keep you posted. Couple small house updates for you too. They're nothing big, but they are nice. The first one is my favorite. I don't know if you noticed, but we don't have the Berkey anymore because we got an under-the-counter water filtration system, and having water just on demand after years of having it in a container and like that's all you have is so nice. And I love the system we got because it's an RO system, but then it remineralizes the water and alkalizes it. So it's great. I love not having the Berkey just like there, like a big thing just that we need to have somewhere. And we're not really using this for anything, but every little thing that we can like get off the counters in this tiny kitchen makes a big difference. The second thing is that we've started replacing some of the vents in this house. This is what most of them look like. They're just like rusty and you can't really see on camera, but inside they just look really, really dirty. So we've replaced the two in our room and the one in Kai's room, and it's a small thing, but it makes a difference. It just makes things look a little bit more fresh and definitely more clean. It looks so much nicer. It looks so much cleaner. We also decided for sure that we are going to make the downstairs bathroom our first official reno, and we made an entire list for everything that we need to get and everything we need to do. So now it's just a matter of like getting the momentum going, because Alex and I are both like doers. So I think for both of us, when we start something, like we want to finish it pronto. And I think we both need to just accept that it's probably going to take a month or two to get it done, which is okay. So at this point, it's just a matter of starting. This has nothing to do with anything, but I thought I would share just in case you maybe need some inspo. Alex got this wooden thing off of Etsy when we lived in our downtown Phoenix apartment. And for the longest time, I have not been sure about how to decorate it. In our last apartment, we were just putting like vintage camera stuff on here, which was okay, but it didn't look necessarily like it belonged, and I feel like it looked a little bit cluttered. But I got the idea recently of making it like a little mini succulent shelf. So I already got my first one, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do with these when they start getting bigger. So that's something I'm kind of trying to think about. And I don't wanna like fill it up. I'm thinking maybe just like 4, 3. I think that's plenty. Like I don't think every inch of this needs to be filled up. So I'm going to fill it up slowly because plants are not cheap, but I think just like let me move you down. Every time I'm at the plant store, if I see one and it's affordable, I'll probably add to this until I feel like it's complete. We are having leftovers. We're having leftovers tonight, which is always a nice break for me. The shower just hits differently when you've spent over half the day outside. I'm loving gardening, but the thing that is hardest for me is that my favorite part is the hands-on work. So like getting the plants, transplanting them, pruning them, that type of thing. And I do love watching them grow and seeing the progress, but that waiting is a little bit hard for me. And when there's not much to do, that's what makes me want to just go get more plants to like have that hands-on work to do. But I'm trying to restrain myself because it definitely can get very, very pricey if you're just constantly buying plants. And I also want to make sure that I have a handle on what I do have now before I just add a ton more. I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. I need to work on a home video that I made about a month ago. I showed it to my family and apparently everyone thought the ending was too abrupt and was complaining about the ending, so I filmed a whole alternate ending today. I'm also really excited for tomorrow because we're gonna take a day trip to Boulder. We've never been, and we've lived in Colorado for almost 2 years at this point, and we've only taken a day trip to a whole other city one time. So I told Alex like we need to cool it on some of the housework so that we can actually get to living our lives. So that's what we're gonna do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.